And up next, I will introduce Dr. Lilian Wayray of Chapman University, who has a litany of teaching duties and responsibilities, including, I'm pulling it up right now real quick, she can't do everything at once, food chemistry, food ingredients, and research methods. And she is extremely regimented and involved in mentorship from the high school level up through the master's level as well. So thank you very much, and the floor is yours.
A year ago, the words big blue button, hyperflex, synchronous, asynchronous were not words in my vocabulary, having never taught or taken an online class before. So with the transition to remote learning, as an instructor, my questions were, how do I mimic the in-class face-to-face demos that I used to do in a virtual environment? How do I mimic students taking exams, writing equations in this virtual environment? And the group work discussions, which tend to enrich accountability and community in a face-to-face, how do I do that in this virtual environment? So here at Chapman, our Technology and Institute of Excellence in Teaching and Learning has been wonderful in helping us with technology. But what I found helpful, equally as helpful, was the discussions around teaching that have been going on at ACS, IFT, AOCS, and by individual instructors such as Dr. Nielsen at Purdue University, who collected resources from all the food analysis instructors over the summer, put them together and disseminated them in a spreadsheet. So one of the great outcomes of this time has been the community in regards to people sharing what's working and what's not working. So I'm going to go through what has changed over the last year. And so again, these conversations leading to successful teaching, I thought that would be equally as helpful for the students. So some of the content changes that I've made have been recording my food chemistry lectures. And so this is to take care of the unexpected. And so with lost internet connections, and so that has been a difference. Then recently we've transitioned to Hyperflex Teaching. And so that has been like running a circus show, but equally with that, I have gotten some help to ensure that I'm paying attention to both students online, but also the students in the face-to-face instruction. Now, in addition to this content mastery in this virtual environment and ensuring that there is community, because again, we're all learning new ways of working together and building community. One of those differences is also having students as content creators. So the peer teaching, using content themes, I had them create videos. And so these are some examples of videos that were created for lay audience to explain various food science concepts. So in addition to that is ensuring rigor is maintained. And so this is done through weekly tweets and weekly reflections on a Google Drive in my research methods class, weekly quizzes in my food chemistry class, and weekly homework in my food ingredients class. Engagement. So engagement, trying to ensure that people don't just check in online, but they're also checking in mentally. So one of those has been using Zoom breakout rooms. And these Zoom breakout rooms is to ensure that the discussions around content are also triggering creative and critical thinking. So the questions have to be things that are not simple, true and false questions, but things where the students have to support their stance and then share with each other what they've come up with. So here's some examples of questions they have to work through during the breakout room discussions. Then assessment. One of the differences that has taken place over the past year was giving more weight to some of these out-of-class assignments, like these videos that they're creating. So given the objectives that I want, and so in this instance is communication. And so in addition to the face-to-face instruction that may be taking place later in the semester, what I've done is have some of this work done asynchronously and also with creating videos, and I'm putting more weight on them than I've done in the past. Then active learning, and so reconciling, ensuring that students don't think that they're going to be learning by osmosis. So one of those ways have been to transition from the table and the whiteboards that we were doing initially to facilitate active learning, with them using their kitchen as a lab. So one example, this is just one example in the first unit of food chemistry, where we're learning about supercooling and nucleation, where they're using freezing water in their freezers at home and soda bottles and making observations and indicating why that's taking place. So this has been our one way to ensure active learning in this virtual space. And then trying to optimize communication using announcements as signposts. Technology. We've all learned lots and lots of wonderful tools this past year: Jamboard, Google Docs, Padlet, Poll Everywhere. So with this, again, they're going to enhance our learning objectives, but also trying to ensure that teaching first and technology second, because the emphasis is not on this shiny, cool technology that we have, but it's to ensure that learning is taking place. So I'm going to share just emphasize one of those that I have used, and this is Hypothesis. And Hypothesis has been an annotation tool that I have started incorporating in my classes. And so this has been a way for me to see the thoughts, understanding of the students as they make comments, but also it's to make the learning active, it's to make the learning visible, but also the students are learning from each other as they see what their peers are posting and commenting about. Intellectual curiosity. So this has been something that's still taken place, even in this virtual space. And so the eye of this creative aspect has still taken place, and this is seen through the questions that the students have been asking. And then virtual office hours to enhance teaching, especially for those that may be struggling in this new change with virtual learning. Then in all this, trying to ensure that ethics is not compromised. So again, we have new ways of cheating in this virtual space. And so trying to deter that. And partly some of the things that I've done is during quizzes and during exams, they have to assign an honesty pledge to ensure they're not violating Chapman University's academic integrity policy. But in the writing intensive classes, I also try to emphasize that ethics is going to be emphasized. So they have to write something as to why writing is an ethical exercise. So this is just a way to try to curb it. So these are just a few things that I've done over the past year differently from the past. And so again, as we transition to fall 2020 and beyond, taking the best of this remote teaching and also the best of face-to-face is something probably we're going to be doing in the future. So look forward to your questions and your engagement, and thanks for listening.